This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to On Deck here on Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. That's Crispy Bacon. I'm James Gonzalez. And thank you again for those who have watched programs throughout the years and throughout the weeks, months, whatever you call them. Crispy Bacon, how are you this Thursday?
I am good. All-Star Week is here. Should be a fun, fun week. We're going to talk about our teams here in a little bit, but not too bad here.
Yeah, it's always a great. I don't know. We'll get to it, but I don't know. I'm never really excited for it anymore. I know the last time the Angels hosted it was 2010, and before that, 89 and 67. The Rangers, I believe, hosted it back in 1990. Crap. I forgot. I want to say 97, 96? I want to say 95.
Maybe.
Yeah. I think it was, I want to say 95. Somewhere in the mid-90s there when the Rangers started to really, really get good. I just remember that ballpark being outside too. Yeah, it was 95. There we go. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll get to that with his Rangers, my Angels. They had a series against one another too. Again, be sure to follow and like, subscribe, and comment in on all the C2C shows. Leave that 5-star rating on Facebook and leave a review too. You know, if we're doing a good job, bad job, sub job, whatever the case is,
Yep.
have us. So we'll get to our team. Yeah, we'll get to our team reports. I guess I'll start off with the misery that is the Angels right now. There was one stretch last time we did a show from last week where they won 6 in a row, then lost 5 in a row. Just the way things have gone. Talking about the end of last month, get this. They win the 6 in a row. They sweep Oakland, take 3 of 4 from Detroit. All of a sudden, you're looking at the wild card like, yeah, cool if we have a chance, cool if we don't. Then July came, Chris, and then that's when it all went downhill. The Angels get swept in Oakland. They lose 2 out of 3 at Wrigley against the Cubs. And then against the Rangers, they lose the first 2 out of 3. Yesterday, the Angels did win 7-2. They had some key hits, and they were right on the scoreboard right away in the first with a 4-0 lead, and they never looked back. They have Seattle for a 4-game series before the All-Star break, like you mentioned, and then back in Oakland, back in Seattle before hosting Oakland again and then Colorado. And again, this will be the last series against the Oakland Athletics before they move to Sacramento just to be called the Athletics. No city name attached. So that's going to be crazy. The Angels, by the way, with their losing back and forth, they are 38 and 54. They're in 4th place in the division. Seattle coming in first place, 51 and 43. We'll go with the standings a little bit later, but they're feeling some pressure right now from one Texas team. The Angels do have a rookie coming up, Kohanowicz, will be Jack Kohanowicz. The C is silent at the beginning of the letter. I mean, the third letter of the name, by the way. He is in place of a starter that got hurt. He will be making his major league debut tonight against those Seattle Mariners. I do have some other notes about him, I believe. He's going to make his major league debut, basically. We will have one Angel at the All-Star game so far, and that's Tyler Anderson, the starter. Despite his win and loss record, he is the best Angel pitcher that they have. Caden Dana will be on the Features game in Texas. That, I believe, will be on Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific at Globe Life Field. He is the number one Angel prospect and 90th overall. Think about that. The number one prospect of the Angels is the 90th overall in the majors. That's not good at all, because the rest of the prospects aren't even in the top 100. Dana's been pretty well, under 3 ERA, 97 strikeouts, 31 walks, 90 and one-third innings, and 16 starts at Double-A, by the way. He was promoted, I believe, before the season started. Mike Trout did have another baby boy. He's not able to come back just yet, but he's working out. And Anthony Rendon, after missing 69 games, made his debut back on Monday against your Rangers. To put in perspective how much time he's missed, he's playing his 220th game for the Angels. But it is the 636th game that the Angels have played since signing him in December of 2019. So he's missed all those games. Over 300, almost 400. It's amazing, too. Luis Rengifo, remember the third baseman taking over for Rendon. He's been moving to second. He got a hand injury. He'll be out. And think about this with the Angels as well. They have the eighth highest payroll, the eighth highest payroll, but the eighth worst record. That's just amazing to me. There was a couple of cool things that did happen. Kevin Pillar, I believe on Saturday or Sunday, he got 10 years of service for his career. That means he gets a pension, and he's a bona fide veteran now. And then at Wrigley, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but visiting teams will send their rookies to go get everyone coffee at the Starbucks across the street from Wrigley Field. So some pretty good ones went over there. The team leaders, pretty much, of the Angels, not the vets, by the way, not Trout or Rendon, but Neto, Soriano, Shanuel, Ohapi. Those are like the main guys for the Angels right now. They were sent to go get coffee when it should be the other way around. What else can I tell you about the team? There's trade talk coming up, and I was wondering this with the Rangers, if they're gonna, even though their record is under 500, will they still try to get better, or will they sell some pieces away that aren't going to be around for, long term? The Angels, though, it's pretty much whoever wants whomever right now. There is a possibility the left fielder Taylor Ward gets traded to the Pirates, but it's not for sure. But Tyler Anderson, the lone Angels All-Star, will probably be traded. And I think about this. If he gets traded before the All-Star game, he'll be on, he'll be in whatever uniform that they traded him to, not the Angels. And I really don't want that to happen on Tuesday, where, he hasn't pitched a game with that team, but he's represented by that team. That'd be kind of awkward, but it would be an Angel move, Chris, nevertheless. So with the Rangers, I know they've kind of been up and down, and again, they took 2 out of 3 against the Rangers. What do you think they're going to do? Do you think they'll be sellers or buyers? Do you think they still have a shot to get the division or a wild card? Jacob deGrom, have you heard if he's going to be back anytime soon? Max Scherzer did come back for Texas, by the way.
Yeah, and I think he should. I mean, from all reports I've heard before the season, he should be back. deGrom, or it could be August. Who knows? But I think he's close to coming back. As far as if they're going to be buyers or sellers, I mean, they did win it last year. They won the World Series. I know they want to go back to back. I know it's hard though. It just depends on what they want to do. Maybe they're like, I'm okay just hanging back and seeing what happens. But I know they're competitive too. And you got to think about their contract with Bally's. The Bally Sports Networks, and I know we're baseball, but it kind of rolls into hockey too. They just created their own network, the Stars did, and so you kind of have to think of that, how much money you're gonna pay to do that, to opt out of that contract. So who knows?
From what I remember, there was a settlement that teams will get paid a certain amount of money, and it will go into their payrolls, but it might take some time. I know Bally's will be around maybe a couple years more, but that's it probably. But that's one thing to notice about the Rangers. How about on the field? How are the Rangers performing?
Not too bad. I know they had a little bit of a winning streak not long ago. And again, it's just about how much they want to, compete. So it's all in their court.
So I'm looking here, the 44-49, third place. The last week or so, they hosted San Diego, and they lost 2 out of 3. Then they swept the Tampa Bay Rays, who are kind of interesting with all the trade talks they're having. And then they took 2 out of 3 against the Angels. Now you have today off, but guess where they're going? To Houston to face the Astros before the All-Star break. Then after the break, you host Baltimore, and they're in first place in their division. But then you have, the White Sox for 4 at home, go to Toronto, and you go to St. Louis. That's going to be everything's a challenge, but that's going to be interesting if they can.
How many days is the MLB off?
2.
2 days?
Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday, and then they start Friday. At least for the Rangers, they are. I did read.
You got Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Sorry. Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday and Thursday. So 4 days for the non-All-Stars. So that it's a great rest, and you really get to see, who's out of the routine once they come back, like how rusty they are.
Games resume that Friday?
Yeah. I was reading about the Rangers. Corey, I was trying to think about Corey Seager, but I think he's okay now, I want to say.
He's okay, but I think they're going to sit him until the break is done.
And then, I'm looking at deGrom. He threw off a mound on June 17th. So, after the All-Star break, he is expected. Saying he's really good. He's feeling really good. But, man, I just cannot believe how much they paid him and how long. It's going to be something.
Well, I did see. I have to pull it up one day, but Max Scherzer, he's getting paid not only with the Rangers, but like 2 or 3 other teams.
The Mets. Same thing for Verlander when he went to the Astros. The Mets are basically paying a good chunk of both. Of course, the Rangers have to pay like the minimum salary or whatever it is for a veteran player. Yeah, that you get lucky sometimes if you're the
but if you're not nobody, you need a
right. Okay, so let's get, since it's Thursday, it's probably it's a really short schedule. But we'll give you some scores about the games. Right now, the Cubs are leading the Orioles 8-0. The Orioles need 9 to win. They're going to the bottom of the ninth in Baltimore. The Phillies are leading the Dodgers 5-1, going to the ninth inning. I have that on. The Phillies are trying to sweep the Dodgers, and we'll talk about them later. The Rays and Yankees are going 5-3. That's in the bottom of the sixth. Top of the sixth, the Red Sox are leading the A's 5-0. I have an interesting note about the Red Sox later. 2-2 middle of the second in Houston facing the Fish. Later on, this I think was a 4-game series between the Braves and Diamondbacks. And the Braves, they're playing a little up and down, but they've had a bunch of injuries. But they're still right there in the wild card. I don't think they'll catch the Phillies. But they're at 640. Some finals, the Reds beat the Rockies 8-1. The Tigers beat the Guardians 10-1. That's kind of a shocker. And the Mets have climbed above 500. And we'll play a video later that will explain how they've been as of late. They've been kind of fun. They shut out the Nationals today 7-0. And then Paul Skeens had 7 no-hit innings, which he struck out 11, and he improves to 6-0. If you remember who Paul Skeens is, he is, I believe, the first or second pick from the draft last year, and he's been outstanding for the Pirates so far. And they shut out the Brewers today 1-0. I mean, it was amazing to see. Chapman got the save, by the way, on that. The Blue Jays and Giants finished their series today up in the Bay, and the Blue Jays won 5-3. It'll be interesting to see if the Giants make some moves at the trade deadline. We'll talk about that next week for sure. So let's talk about the standings, as the Phillies are the first to 60 wins. They're trying to get the 61st right now in this game here as their closers in for the Philadelphia Phillies. Excuse me. Let's go to our division, though, AL West. Seattle leads it only by 2 games to Houston. I don't know if you've seen Houston, Chris, but despite, not having their injuries or not having some of their pitchers, they've been hitting very, very well, and that's why they're back in the thick of things. And Seattle's maybe the team to lose it. Your Rangers 6.5 back here. The Angels 12 back, and then the Oakland A's at 16 back. In the East, the Orioles lead by 2 games over the Yankees. Boston 6.5. It's almost like a carbon copy of the West. Tampa Bay 12 back, and then Toronto again, really underperforming. They'll be someone to look at, both Toronto and Tampa Bay. They're 14.5 back. In that AL Central, Cleveland leads the Twins by 4.5. Kansas City 7 games back. They kind of faltered, at least for the division. Detroit is 13 games back. And then the White Sox are, get this, Chris, 31.5 back. First place Cleveland. We mentioned the Phillies. They lead the Braves by 8.5. They've been like that for a long time now during the season. The Mets are 13 games back, though they've climbed above 500. Third place. Washington 8-19, and then Miami 28 games back. The Central, It's been ruled by Milwaukee, but everything else keeps changing. The Brewers lead the Cardinals by 5 games. Cardinals might make some moves. Pirates 8.5 back. Cincinnati 9, and then the Cubs 9.5. And then for the West, the Dodgers might go down to 7-game lead over San Diego if the Phillies hold on right now. The Diamondbacks 9 out, Giants 10.5, and Colorado 22.5 games out. Now we could talk about the wild card real quick. The Yankees have the first wild card over the Twins by 4.5. Second place, Minnesota is up on the Red Sox by 2 games. So the Red Sox do have the third wild card spot, trying to hold it on. I mean, this is a team that thought, well, they could hit, but they don't have that well pitchers. But they really are shocking people. Kansas City, a half game back of that. Houston, 2.5 back. And then Tampa Bay, 5.5. So that's the American League. For the National League, it is ugly. Well, I shouldn't say ugly, but it's improved as of late. The records have. There's more teams above 500 than we last spoke about this wild card. So the Braves have the first wild card spot by 4.5. And then the Cardinals lead by a game over the Mets for second place. And then you have the Mets holding that third spot just over the Padres. And then Arizona's 1.5. The Pirates are 2.5. The Reds and Giants 3. And then you have the Cubs at 3.5. So it's just funny how this extra wild card spot has really got more teams maybe into it that normally would not be. It's really interesting. So, Chris, I'll ask you this because I'm looking at all the divisions, and I'm wondering who would you think will not win their division, who leads it right now? Remember, Seattle is only leading the Astros by 2.5, and then Baltimore is only leading by 2 over the struggling Yankees. But after that, everybody's up by 5 or more. So I'll ask you, Chris, what division leader will not win their division?
Man, I kind of want to be biased and go Seattle. But I don't want Houston to win it either. I like Texas to win that. But, hey, I mean, at this point, I'll go with Seattle. I know the Dodgers are kind of, you could say they're locked into that spot. But I wouldn't mind seeing them go down.
And it's a final in Philadelphia. The Phillies win it 5-1 over the Dodgers.
Yay!
The Phillies sweep LA in what might be a National League Championship Series preview.
But it could be a tiebreaker situation, right?
True. This is the first 3-game sweep of the Dodgers since 2011. And these two have met in the postseason before, but it's been a while. So good job by the Phillies here. They're again hosting or continuing to rule that East. Because of the Braves with their injury issues, that's just been really unfortunate. We'll segue into a really unfortunate news that we had. I believe it was last week, I want to say, with the loss of Orlando Cepeda. He's a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. He played a total of 17 seasons, 9 with the Giants, 4 with the Braves, 3 with the Cardinals, and then 1 year with Kansas City, Boston, and Oakland. He was a first baseman. He had his highest career home runs was 46. He drove in 142 the same year in that 1961 season with the Giants. He did win he didn't win a championship, but he was a Hall of Famer. He was on some very, very good teams, and he was always dependable, always a good name. So, he passed away on June 28th of this year. He last played in 1974. He went in finally as a player in 1999. He was voted by a veterans committee. He came up in 1958. He played a while. In his career, he batted .297, 379 home runs, 2003 51 hits. His WAR over 50. He's really, really great player in my mind. Kind of gets overlooked. But yeah, rest in peace to Orlando Cepeda. Again, the Giants now have 2 players circled on their jerseys. Remember Willie Mays, and then a week later, Orlando Cepeda. So that was really unfortunate. Chris, I don't know if you have any words for him.
No, it's sad that, a player who's, Hall of Fame or even not. I mean, you have a legacy player of a certain team or certain franchises, and, it hurts the sport, whether it's baseball, football, whatever, and, he will be missed, and it kind of hurts the sport a little bit.
Yeah, and it hurts an organization to have not 1 but 2 players pass away that, have been, have Hall of Fame credentials, and then retired numbers, on the team. And then you'll see 2 patches on the Giant jerseys, and then right field on the bricks they have 24 and 30 on the bricks at AT&T, Oracle Park. Excuse me, Oracle Park. So talking about the happenings that will happen next week around your parts, the All-Star teams were named. The starters were named last week, but the reserves and the pitchers were named. Let me pop those up because those there was some interesting names, some first timers. That was kind of a shock, but then you had some, regular ones. So the American League starters, again, we had the DH for the Astros, Jordan Alvarez, catcher Aldi Rushman of Baltimore, first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Oh, there it is. We'll get to that one. Jose Altuve, the second baseman for the Astros, but he'll be out. He was hit in the hand, so there will be a replacement at second for him. Jose Ramirez at third base. He's been awesome for the Guardians. And then another Oriole, Gunnar Henderson, will be at short. 2 Yankees in the outfield, Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. And then Stephen Kwan, another Guardian, will be... Oh, he's hurt as well. Oh, wow.
So these are pitchers in reserve.
Right. I'll finish the starters for the National League here. The DH will be Shohei Ohtani, of course, but he couldn't do the Derby, which is unfortunate. That loses a lot of eyes on the team, on the streaming or whatever. William Contreras will be the catcher starting in the National League with Milwaukee. Definitely a first timer there. Bryce Harper with his 300 average and 20 home runs, I think it is, for first base. His teammates, Alec Baum at third, and then Trey Turner will play short for the Phillies in that game. The lone snake, I think, in this All-Star game will be Ketel Marte at second. And then Christian Yelich will be the other Brewer starting in the outfield. And then 2 Padres, even though Tatis will not play, Fernando Tatis Jr. will be there with Jurickson Profar, who will be making his first All-Star game and his first start. So that's been amazing to see. Now let's get to the what you had up there. I think you had the American League pitchers to start off with. The Angels, their lone representative, Tyler Anderson, will be pitching there. Corbin Burns of Baltimore. And then you have Emmanuel Clase, the closer for the Guardians, and he's been great. Garrett Crochet, who is pictured up on there, Probably a trade piece for someone. Hopefully not the Dodgers. Logan Gilbert of the Mariners, Clay Holmes of the Yankees, Tanner Huick of the Red Sox, Seth Lugo of the Royals, and then I think the lone Oakland A, the closer Mason Miller, Cole Regans for the Royals, the second pitcher for Kansas City this year. The lone Tiger, I believe, Tarek Schubel, and then the Lone Ranger is Kirby Yates. He is a has he been closing games or he's just been a reliever?
I want to say
For the-
reliever,
Yeah,
but
and that's
I could be wrong.
it's a good nod for him because he made it a time before, but it was a while back, and he's a good story. Now, if you have the reserves, the next
Yep.
one there.
For the National League?
No, for the American League. Carlos
just
Correa will be the
Yeah, just
Twins Twins representative. In the infield, also in the infield, Rafael Devers for Boston. Jaron Duran, who is pictured on the IG account, will be the other representative for Boston. So they get two in there. David Fry, the DH, and then Josh Naylor, the infielder for the Guardians. And Riley Green, the other Tiger, will be an outfielder. Isaac Paredes will be the Tampa Bay Ray. I believe he's the only representative of the Rays this year. Salvador Perez, the third representative for the Royals, will be there as a catcher. He's had a renaissance of a season, and he'll join Bobby Witt Jr. as a shortstop on the team. And then I was wrong about being the Lone Ranger. There'll be two Rangers at the game. Marcus Semien, the second baseman, will be on the Rangers, will be on the All-Star team, along with Kyle Tucker, but he'll be hurt, the Houston Astro. Now, go to the National League. The pitchers there. There it is. Tyler Glasnow, he's injured, but he's been named an All-Star. He's had a great year with LA. Ryan Hensley, I believe he's a reliever with St. Louis. Jeff Hoffman, Matt Strom, those are two relievers for the Phillies. And then Zach Wheeler and Ranger Suarez will be the two starters represented by the Phillies. The A's, I'm sorry, not the A's. Sorry. The Atlanta Braves have two great starters, and guess what? They face the Padres here in San Diego just before the All-Star break, so you probably won't see him pitch in the game. But Renato Lopez, who the Angels had last year and gave away, which I was so pissed about, and they didn't sign him back. And then Chris Sale, who's had a renaissance of a year for the Astros, the lefty, who didn't really expect much out of him, but he's been awesome this year, a fountain of youth. So those are the two lone Brave representatives. Surprisingly, no Ozzie Albies. Tanner Scott is the lone Marlins representative. Shota Imaga will be the left-hander for the Cubs, the starter. He had a great start to the season there for Chicago. And then who is pictured there? Paul Skeens, again with the stellar 6-0 record. He's in the All-Star game. There's talk that they want him to start the game. That's how much hype is on him. And then Robert Suarez, and this is a great story. He's the closer for the Padres. He gets in. He was playing in Mexico, or pitching in Mexico a few years ago. The Padres found him, and he's been awesome ever since. And then Logan Webb, the lone, or the second Giant, will be in there as a starter. Go to the reserves. You have the lone Washington Nationals C.J. Abrams as an infielder. Also, Pete Alonso for the Mets. He's the lone Met in there. Another Padre, Luis Ariz, as an infielder representative. Mookie Betts for the Dodgers. Ellie De La Cruz for the Reds. Freddie Freeman for LA, Teoscar Hernandez for LA, Ryan McMahon, the lone Rocky in the group, Jackson Merrill for the Padres. Marcell Ozuna has been great for the Braves, so he'll be there. And then Heliot Ramos, who's had an amazing breakout year for the Giants. Brian Reynolds will be the second Pirate. And then Will Smith, the catcher, will be with the Dodgers there. So that's been all the starters and bench and the pitchers. Now, if you have that slide that shows the All-Stars per team, I don't know if I sent you that one, but it shows per team how many All-Stars got in. And it's kind of surprising, some of them. But there was 2 teams just playing right now, and they're represented very well between the Phillies and the Dodgers. And that's been kind of amazing to see how both teams are represented. Okay. The Phillies, they have 7 players. The Dodgers have 6 players. And then the Guardians and the Padres have 5.
You got the Guardians and Padres.
Yeah, and then the Royals have 4. The Astros, Braves, Yankees, Red Sox, Orioles all have 3 players. And then 2 players represented will be the Giants, the Tigers, the Pirates, the Brewers, and the Texas Rangers. That leaves the rest for 1 player. Miami, Seattle, Arizona, the Angels, the A's, Blue Jays, Cardinals, Cubs, White Sox, Twins, Mets, Nationals, Rays, Reds, and of course the Rockies. It's funny how that goes sometimes. And then we'll next talk about the home run derby and the participants in it. I don't know if you have that as well.
I do.
Maybe explain the format too.
So, all right. So basically, they removed the brackets, and you have 8 participants. The participants with the top 4 move on. And they would face each other. 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. So it's like a playoff bracket after that. And then the top 2 with the most, home runs moves into the finals. And then, of course, same thing. Most home runs wins it.
Yeah, and I the 4 people that I realize who aren't in this. You have no Vladdy Jr., no Yordan Alvarez, no Aaron Judge, and then no Shohei Ohtani. That makes me not want to watch it. Are you going to watch it?
I don't know. I'm up and down on it. I'll probably record it or something or find it later, but I don't know.
The one thing I did hear about the Derby is that it will be there'll be less stress on the hitter. There will be, I don't think, any time involved, or not as much as it used to be. So that's going to be good for the stress for the hitters. So that's really good to see. And also the All-Star game. Again, I'm not really going to watch it. Are you, Chris?
The All-Star game?
Yeah.
Last year I thought, oh, cool. All-Star game here in Texas. We'll probably be having a lot of prospects, but All-Stars. No, I don't think we have any All-Stars starting. I mean, yes, we're going to have All-Stars.
No. Right.
But we're not going to have any starters, or players starting. And that hurts because, the team won the World Series. You'd think they'll have a little popularity, but there is no popularity. I mean, there is and there isn't, but we're not popular.
I can tell you the coaching staff will be there. So Bruce Bochy will be managing the American League team. Torey Lovallo will be managing the NL team as they faced each other in the World Series last year.
See,
So-
but here's what I think they should do, and the NFL kind of does this with the college all-star games, or part of the draft evaluation. They'll take their assistant coaches, make them as head coaches. I think
Oh,
they do that for like the MLB all-star.
MLB, what they do for the managers, they pick 3 from that league. So it's not the whole Ranger staff, but it is Bruce Bochy, the manager. I forgot to mention that because Mark Kotze, I believe, of Oakland, will be on that all-star coaching, managing in the dugout. It's the weirdest thing. It's not like in the NBA where the 2 teams with the best record in each league, that coaching staff will go. It's not like that, how it is in MLB. By the way, the Rangers are the 3rd team to host the All-Star game as World Series champions, defending World Series champions.
Should have been the first. But
The last times it happened was 1933. It was the New York Giants at the Polo Grounds, and then 1939, the New York Yankees at Old Yankee Stadium. Some other notes before we get to our reels and get out of here. Michael Kopech, the White Sox pitcher, and there hasn't been a lot to smile about or to feel proud about. But last week he had an immaculate inning, meaning 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. And the last time a White Sox pitcher had an immaculate inning was a guy named Sloppy Thurston back on August of 1923. Sloppy Thurston. That sounds like a drink.
What a name.
Yeah. Some other news, and I mentioned this with the Dodgers, Chris. The Dodgers have 16 pitchers injured. 16.
Dang.
And some are, bit the bullet of the Tommy John surgery. Some will be back. But think about this. The Dodgers have one of the best rotations, and they're all in the IL. You have Tyler Glasnow, who we just mentioned as the All-Star. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who originally had a 15-day IL, but it's going longer than that. He has some issues with his side. Shohei Ohtani, of course, not pitching this year off of the elbow surgery from last season. Clayton Kershaw, who will be back eventually. He's making some minor league starts. Walker Buehler, who just tried to come back this year but couldn't. And they also have Dustin May, Tony Gonsolin, and Emmett Sheehan. Also guys that could be in that pitching rotation also on the IL. It's amazing to think what they could have had easily as a starting rotation plus some long relief help. But they're one of the teams out there that needs some pitching help with all the injuries that they're probably going to get.
But it also helps too that yes, your key players are out, but you can still win. It doesn't matter about key players.
Isn't that amazing? You find the depth in your minor leagues, or you trade for it, and it all works out somehow. Sometimes.
Hey, can I bring up one thing too?
Oh yeah,
about
go.
the All-Star? We were talking about jerseys at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
And this is what the last 4 or last 3 plus.
That's
in
right.
The bottom right corner is this year's jerseys. And you were talking about earlier, and I remember this too. They used to have the team jerseys, not necessarily American League, National League jerseys, but like you would go out there with your like the Rangers or the Angels gear and rep your team basically.
Yeah, okay, so since there was no 2020 All-Star game, that would have been the first by Nike, I want to say. I think so. Yeah, the first one by Nike. But instead, you have the 2021 one in Colorado. And right away, I see that one. I'm like, that is so stupid. You have the abbreviation of the team with the team logo. And then the hat is, the logo is kind of blocked out by the star. So that looks stupid. The only one I like was in 2022. It was in Los Angeles, and it literally was trying to get some of that Hollywood in there. You see the star and the hat next to the logo, and then you see the gold and the gray and white, kind of like the Hollywood's Walk of Fame. So I kind of like, out of those, that was the best one. But the 2023 one was kind of cool because it was in Seattle, but it's one that you would want to see in batting practice. You wouldn't want to see that during the game. So I didn't like that fact. And then when they were in Seattle in 2001, the All-Star game, they had similar blue and teal jerseys just for the home run derby and the batting practice, but not the actual game. Like you mentioned, they were wearing their home and away uniforms, which I hope they would go back to, but money talks. And that blends into this year's American League and National League jerseys, which is said on both. National League, American League. It's too much. It's too much to put leagues on both jerseys.
And I would have gone with I would have gone with maybe red and white and blue and white.
I know, not this.
I only say that
Go ahead.
Well, I'm saying for this year's All-Star, I would have gone like red and white for American League and blue and white for National League. One, because it's in the Rangers color scheme. Two, it represents the National League and American League.
No doubt. This I don't like the I don't know what you call it, but tan, and then the kind of baby blue, and then the hat. It's pretty cool. I like the hat design where it's a star, and it looks like the star. The lines are, it's like a shooting star or something like that through the logo. I think that's pretty cool. But the colors, I just hate it. So I wish they would go back to home and away. I really wish.
Me too. Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for bringing that because I forgot to mention that. Speaking of the All-Star game, you had Christian Walker for the Diamondbacks have better numbers than Pete Alonso. But Pete Alonso gets in for the popularity pick. He has more home runs. Walker does over Alonso, more RBIs. Average is higher. OPB is higher. Slugging is higher. Just basically, hits are higher. It's just embarrassing that he did not get in there. I mentioned about the Red Sox, Chris. They're 49-40, and people thought, they might be good enough to make the playoffs, but only because of the playoff format. Yankee fans, hey, they're only 2 games, below the Orioles, but it feels like their season is falling down. One fan mentioned, fire the manager, release everyone, cancel the season. And they're in the playoffs. It's like, they're okay, but they have standards. The Met fans, by the way, they're 2 games above 500, like we mentioned. That purple blob will lead us to greatness. That's how delusional Met fans are. It's that one thing from McDonald's. Do you remember that purple, what they call that thing? Groomer. Grimace, yeah. So he's been dressing up in Mets gear around the stadium. He's been really, really something. 2 other things. So the 2010 MLB draft was utterly absurd, and thank you to Parker Doyle, who is on X. And they mentioned the first 10 picks of that draft, as the draft will come up pretty soon. Isn't it? I think it's right after the All-Star break, I want to say.
No, it's during the All-Star week.
Yeah, it is. That's right. Wednesday, I want to say,
And
or is it Sunday?
I'll look it up. Hold on.
Okay. Well, I'll mention the 10 players because it's pretty amazing to think. So Bryce Harper was number 1. Machado was number 3. Chris Sale was 13th. Christian Yelich was 23rd. Noah Syndergaard was 38th. Nick Castellanos was 44th. And that's all in the first round, by the way. JT Realmuto was in the third round. Whit Merrifield was 9th. And then Jacob deGrom was in the 9th inning somehow. And then Jock Peterson was around 11th. Some other notable names in that 2010 draft: Yasmani Grandal, who's having a pretty good year with the Pirates; Robbie Ray, who's hurt, unfortunately; Kevin Kiermaier of the Jays; Taijuan Walker; and then one quarterback, Chris, who's been moving around lately, was drafted by the Texas Rangers, I want to say, that year. Can you name him?
Repeat that one more time.
One quarterback who's been moving around lately that has a baseball background. He was drafted in 2010, I believe, by the Texas Rangers.
Does he have unlimited potential?
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah. So he was drafted that year late by the Rangers. I remember him taking batting practice too.
I did too, yeah, and it's like, okay.
I think he was drafted by the Rangers or the Yankees. No, it was the Rangers. That's
Rangers.
right. One more note. Last week, I believe it was last week or this week, Ken Griffey Jr. received his final $3,593,750 payment from the Reds. He signed a 16-year, $57.5 million deferral agreement 16 years ago, and it finally went through for all of it. I believe he was the highest paid Red, by the way, this season at 3.5 mil. I believe that's the case. So that deferred payment is finally done. But Bobby Bonilla, remember, gets his
millions of dollars.
Yeah, $1 million every year, and it's
Man, I'll have to negotiate that with an employer.
Yeah. The Shohei contract will be amazing too, but that has to be all within his playing career, not after. I think that's been a thing where nobody will ever do this again, where they pay someone to not be there, but pay them long term.
And if you want to watch one other thing, if you want to watch the draft, it's Sunday to Tuesday.
3 days. So it is Sunday. That's what I thought. Last year, I think they did that in Seattle.
Yeah,
before
this year
the
Fort Worth at the Stockyards.
They had the Futures game, and then they had the Derby, and then the game. But before all that, they had the draft. Okay, that's right.
I also think it's interesting of the celebrities going out there and playing baseball.
Oh, that's right. The softball game will be going. You know, I haven't watched that the last couple of years just because of work, but just because I really wasn't interested anymore.
Well, this year I can't remember who's in it, but I looked at the list and it's like, who?
That's true. Who? I did see that list. We're not going to go through that list.
2 or 3, but then I'm like, who? I don't know.
Yeah, that is true. You did mention that.
Yeah.
Or that is true. You mentioned that. So, Chris, we'll go through some funny reels and we'll get out of here. I'm trying to remember what the first one is.
Here's the first one.
Let's see.
It's,
you might want to keep it muted, but because I don't know of copyright restrictions that may happen. But this is Jose Iglesias, and the whole team joins him for his new hit single. He's a recording artist, and he also plays shortstop for the Mets. After a win on a Friday night, he had the crowd going, and I don't know why we have to copyright it, but there's Mr. Smile, among others, on the Mets, just enjoying the time. The fans all into it. Mr. Met getting down in the back. And look at that. He's going wild. It looks like a scene from a movie or a TV show or Kenny Powers or
It kind of
something.
looked like it. Yeah.
It's just and then look at all the Mets come and join him. Some of the Mets. But you don't see
That's
that
so cool.
usually. But I thought of this. I was like, man, you know what? We got to share there. And look, they're joining in on the chorus. There's Pete Alonso, front and center, supporting the OMG. He's got his shirt on. That's just an amazing, amazing story there. The second
I wouldn't say
reel we
attention,
have.
but just for fun.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
What was the second one? Was it the amazing catch coming up by the catcher?
Let me get it up.
Let's see. Oh yeah. This one you gotta watch to
The
really see
second
what the hell happened.
Wizard League.
Yeah. By the way, the starting
some kind of
pitchers for
Wizard
the All-Star
League or
game.
something.
Oh, what? There it is. The All-Star pitchers will be announced. Starting pitchers will be announced on Monday, by the way. So, yeah, this video is crazy. How this catcher caught it. And this was during, like, rookie ball of some sort.
Oh.
But watch the ball. So, it's
yeah, it looked like
amazing.
he caught it, but it went behind his back.
Yeah, so his right hand is behind the leg there, and
The bat.
It goes off the bat and it somehow gets under the leg without touching the dirt, I think, and it goes right into his
like
bare hand.
It looked like it hit him on the leg.
Let's see this again.
Yeah, it hit him on.
Oh, that's right. It hit the inner thigh and got in there. That's right. That's just funny how the hand just happens to be there.
And it,
yeah, witchcraft, like you mentioned.
That's what you call peripheral vision.
Oh yeah, just being lucky too. The next one
I don't
is we're gonna get a little violent here to end the show before we get a little silly.
I guess.
So let's set this one up. It's somewhere overseas.
We do not condone violence, everybody, but
yeah, it's like in the Caribbean, I want to say. But mute this too, because you don't want to play the song. But look at that. The pitch comes inside. The batter swings at the catcher, and all hell ensues. Number 5 comes in with the punch, and it just goes wild. But when's the last time you seen a batter swing at the catcher, not at a ball? And then the catcher throws the ball at the batter, and then they go. I just couldn't believe this when I saw this. I had to share it. One more time. Boom! And then, boom! Oh, my goodness.
That makes the Ranger punch look silly. To say.
Oh, yes. The Odor. That was the best.
Yeah.
That was definitely the best.
Which you can see that on display this week.
Oh, that's right. They have the big mural for that. I love that. All right, the next one I have to set up before you play it because this one I have never seen before. So there's a minor league game going on. Yeah, there's not much major league, I guess, violence going on. I guess once you get up to the big show, everybody's kind of mature. So minor league game, there's a double play turned, and the first baseman walks away, and I'll tell you why after we play it once.
Okay, let me pull it up.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the comments as well because I haven't looked at the comments about it, but as you can tell, and you can play audio for this as well if you want to. But yeah, there's a double
Let's see.
play
There you go.
turn. There's one, and there's two. Bad camera work. And then think about it, it's a third out, but where is the first baseman going? He threw the glove, he threw the ball away. And then look at that. He goes into the stands, he chases after one fan. And then he's walking up the railing there.
So I don't have this on audio, but apparently they're doing an ad read in the middle of this.
Yeah. And then look at him.
The comment says the ad read is sending me.
And unfortunately and apparently there was a fan that was saying racist stuff to him all game. I don't know if that's true or not. It's not confirmed. But that first baseman heard enough, and he went up to go chase the guy away. And of course, the guy went away very fast to get out of there. So once the third out happened, yeah. Once the first baseman got that double play done, okay, enough of this. I'm going up in the stands. And fortunately, the fan, I think you could kind of see him running away, and then all the teammates join, all the manager comes up and join and gets him before he does something unfortunate. It was just something you really never see. And this was amazing. All right, so Chris, let's end the show on a high note, a fun note. There is some violence in this too, but it comes from, or there's a couple of things from the college baseball World Series tournament or whenever it was.
Ooh,
but this involves a gator. An actual Florida gator was
from Florida?
Maybe hurt in the making of this video. Maybe. But
oh no.
Let's see what happened. Now watch this foul ball come up.
Ow.
Reaction. The little kid gives CPR. This is amazing right here. He looks straight back. Oh, and look at the kid. Look at that. He's so young, but he knows CPR.
Get in the head.
Yeah. They don't know the difference at that age. And then I love the comment right there. Tony Thomas saying decent chest compressions, though. Yeah, maybe the mom or dad is a nurse. EMT person, yeah. That's just brilliant. I had to share that. Boom!
Staying alive.
Yeah, that's it, Chris. So the last one here, it's again from this college baseball World Series preview. It was the Battle of the Carolinas between North Carolina, East Carolina, the Pirates defeating the Tar Heels. And they had a hell of a celebration. Something you're going to need a cone for. It's pretty amazing to see. Again, that gator.
Is that my new what?
Huh? Oh, cone. You're gonna need to. You kind of need to go around this guy.
Heads up for that gator
there. Look at that. Cone celebration. When do you ever see a Conehead celebration?
At any cost, people.
I love that.
Never.
I freaking love Conehead, 1993. I would totally do that. And do you think he can see? Or they're just telling him, yeah, just run straight. Just run straight. I saw that celebration last month, I think.
The way the camera's angled, only showing the back of his jersey, I don't know. You know?
That's amazing. Yeah. I love that.
That's pretty good.
I think North Carolina went on to win that series, but that was the first of a 3 regional one, unfortunately. Good game, too. It was 11-10 from what I saw. So that was great. Again, we'll have reels, to end the show next week, and hopefully we find some good ones. All right, Chris, we'll get out of here with some final thoughts. How about you?
Yeah. Good. Thanks everyone for watching and tuning in. If you missed it, it'll be on YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Kicking It is tonight. Join in on all the fun. Who knows what will happen?
Is A's going to be back for that?
As far as I know.
Cool. Man, I had the pressure last week of hosting what do you call it? Roundtable, man. Ace got to get back in there. That was fun. Trying to find something to talk about. For me, hey, hopefully I'll be on Kicking It tonight, but if not, we'll be on the Entertainment Hour, me, Randy, and maybe some other guys, and Chris, and maybe Christy, who knows. We have a couple of people to talk about, and we'll have the topics all tomorrow, and then we'll get to that. But be sure to keep tuning in to C2C wherever you may be to listen and watch and shows and comment on other things. See you next time on Deck on here on Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. See you later.